It all depends. I mean, obviously you're preparing guys right now and getting them in shape and trying to make them better wrestlers, getting rid of some of their deficiencies, stuff like that. And that's going to be a tournament at Michigan State, so they might wrestle 4 or 5 matches in that day, and then the following weekend you go to a dual meet, and that's only wrestle 1 match. So you prepare the 1 match a little bit different than you prepare the 5 and 6 matches in a day.
We're here today with Coach Joel Greenlee. You were inducted in 2017 in Wrestling Hall of Fame in Iowa. Yeah. You have 7 All-Americans, 15 MAC tournaments title, MAC Coach of the Year, NWCA National Assistant of the Year. You went as a wrestler and heavyweight in Northern Iowa, University of Northern Iowa, and you are 2-time All-American as well in 1989 and 1988, 88, 89. So I want you to coach. I want you to take me over a little bit. I always start with this with the coaches is, how everything started. How come you become a wrestler? Why that passion about wrestling?
Well, man, I was probably a 3rd grader. And my brother started wrestling. Actually, he was two years older than I am. So he was going to a tournament, and I just begged my parents to go and wrestled in the shorts and t-shirts and socks, and went and did pretty well in the tournament, ended up getting 2nd, and just kind of fell in love. And from there on out, I just begged him to wrestle whenever I could wrestle.
So you probably pretty much what the one they introduced you to this. And then you keep going, because I'll tell you something. I have a good friend who is a wrestler, and man, that sport is a tough sport. Don't get me wrong. People take granted for it. I think so, because I tell you what, the training is unbelievable. The training that you guys do.
The training's hard, and then on top of that, you have to cut some weight sometimes, and you have to wrestle when you're hungry, work out when you're hungry, all those things. And that makes it a little bit more difficult. Going for a workout on a full stomach sometimes isn't so bad. And then you got to do that without eating for a while. Adds a whole another dynamic.
How come that happened? Because he was mentioned to me as well that, you have to shrink, 3 pounds or 2 pounds, like within nothing, in order for him to be able to wrestle. So why did that happen?
Well, there's certain weight classes that you have to wrestle, and you can't weigh, like if the weight classes is, say, in high school, it's 120, you can't weigh any more than 120. You can't be 120.1.
No, you can't. You can't.
No, it's got to be 120 or less. So, most people don't weigh exactly 120, so you have to watch what you eat and what you put in your body. And I think wrestling's done a pretty good job of getting away from a lot of weight cutting, but there's still, you still have to be mindful of it.
So because like myself, I'm a baseball guy, all right, and I don't know much about wrestling, right? So in order for me, let's say, I'm 215 right now. So I have to wrestle somebody at 215 exactly, or can be 220 or 205.
So in high school, the wrestling, the weight class would be 215. So you could go down to 195 or 215. So if you weighed 195.5, you'd have to wrestle 215 pounders.
Okay.
Or cut that extra half pound to be 195. If you weighed 215.5, you'd have to wrestle the heavyweights, and they can be up to 285.
285. So in high school, take me over. When you were in high school, you were a heavyweight already in high school?
No, in high school, I wrestled, the weight at the time was 185.
185. Man, 185 and that's some muscle right there in high school.
Yeah.
That's good. Now, take me on a little bit. how you did your recruiting process from high school to the university?
Well, some of it, I was fortunate. I had some success early on in my career, placed in the state tournament as a sophomore, all those things. So you kind of got on college coaches' radars at that point in time, and started getting calls right away in my senior year from a lot of big schools, and had the opportunity to go to probably 10 different schools. And I narrowed it down to my 5 schools and went from there. But even now it's so much different. It starts so much earlier. Back then it was your senior year. Now it's, your sophomore and junior year.
Sophomore and junior year. So right now you as a head coach, that's how you start looking at the athletes from, sophomore and junior.
Yeah. Or even before a little bit,
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So senior is a bit too late.
No, because I think there's some kids that are late bloomers, maybe they weren't at the right weight class, or maybe they weren't physically mature, or maybe, a lot of things. And there's some guys that you don't really, maybe they fly under the radar a little bit until they're a senior. And then you start looking at it then as well.
Because that's what I was going to mention to you, because let's say, some kids develop one day to another one, like, man, someday you see it at 160 probably, and then all of a sudden they're at 180, because they're developed huge right away. So that's probably the reason why I ask you, what happened if you a senior, and you develop, like you say, you develop a little bit late on that standpoint,
Well, some of it, college coaches will notice you as you start doing well, but the other parts of it is, if you develop late and you're having a good year, or you've had a good summer, or maybe didn't have a great junior year, you went into the state tournament and you were sick, hurt, whatever, and it didn't go the way you wanted to, but you had a great summer once you got healthy. Some of that is you got to decide, hey, where can I see myself going to school, and reach out a little bit and talk to that coach, and try to get yourself on an unofficial visit or something like that. And then that you kind of put yourself on their radar. And as the year goes on and you start doing pretty well, they'll notice that.
They will notice. Definitely. Now, going back to your recruiting. So did you went official or unofficial visits back in the day? Did that happen before or not?
That did. That did happen. Yeah. You went on unofficial visits, like to a football game or something like that. And it was the same thing. You could go as many unofficial visits as you want, but the same thing, you could only go on 5 official visits.
Official, correct.
Yeah.
So it's been for the longest time, 5 of
That's so you make me sound old when you say for the longest time.
Sorry, I don't want. I mean, nowadays it's different, man. Social media, everything changed a lot. So,
yeah.
I play baseball. I would love to have the social media that we had right now, to be honest with you. Now, how come you decide to go to University of Northern Iowa? They were on the top rank on that time, or what's the school they got you the most?
It was a little bit of everything. I mean, I had opportunities to go to Iowa State, Northern Iowa, places like that. And I had a great time on all my visits. Like I could see myself at all those places. I was pretty eaten up with wanting to be able to be the varsity guy for 4 years and stuff like that. And I had that opportunity at Northern Iowa, and an opportunity, I thought, to kind of make a difference at that school, and a head coach that I thought really, really, really cared about me as a wrestler, as a student, as a person.
That's important. That's important because that's a key for the athletes, right? I mean, you have to feel comfortable. You have to make sure that you that's the main reason why we always recommend, like you said, go visit, 10 schools, 15 schools to see where the place is the right fit for you. You know, I have a track and field girl that she could go to a Division I, no questions asked, because of the time that she was putting in, but she felt more. She went to a D2 in Orange County, and she's like, you know what, I like this school better. I feel on that school, so that's probably important, right?
Yeah, I think that's really important. Wrestling in Division I, running track, basketball, whatever, not for everybody.
Not for everybody.
For me, I came kind of from small town Iowa, and nothing against a big school. And Texas doesn't have wrestling, so I'll use them. What do they have? 60-some thousand students. There was 6,000 people in my hometown. I don't know that I could function in a school with 60,000 people.
You will be lost right there.
Exactly.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about when you are in the university. Did you ever occurs to you to go to the Olympics? Like, look at what happened right now with the gold medal. I mean, do you ever that happens to you? I mean, do you thought about it?
Yeah, I actually wrestled. I was a member of the U.S. national team for it would be hard to say, but I would say 5 or 6 years, somewhere in there.
Okay.
Wrestled in the Olympic trials in 88, 92.
Okay. When you were the All-American, you were on the U.S. team right there. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and did you have the opportunity to go to the Olympics?
I actually went. Bruce Baumgartner was the guy. He was a 4-time Olympic medalist. He was the guy that represented the United States. But I went as his training partner. I think I was 3rd in the trials that year. So,
Gotcha. Well, that's amazing, because I saw that. I don't know. Well, I'm not sure you watched that. 30 seconds or 60 seconds to finish the match, losing the gold medal on the Olympics this year.
Oh, Gable Stevenson.
Yeah, man. I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
That was pretty awesome, wasn't it?
He put those points like boom, boom. I'm like, you kidding me, man? That was like, like I said, I'm not huge on wrestling, but like watching that moment, it's like amazing. Everybody.
Once you watch it a few times, you get hooked.
Oh, it's good. And like I said, my friend, he was a wrestler when he was in high school, and he didn't have opportunity to go at the collegiate level, but he keeps sending me the messages, through the Olympics. That was awesome. That was a very unique experience. And now, how occurred you to go coaching? Like, did you went right away from the university to coaching, or it took you a while?
I did. I mean,
you did.
Back then, there wasn't as many opportunities like regional training centers and all the stuff that there is now, that you could compete and get paid by them and not have another job. Back then, you really had to have another job. So coaching was kind of the route to go. And as soon as I graduated from Northern Iowa, I just ended up being fortunate. We had a coach leave, got a head coach's job somewhere else. So there was a position on staff that opened up, and I was fortunate to get that position and started coaching right away. Right
away. So you started as an assistant and then jumped up to the head coach.
Yeah.
Awesome. Now, let's go over a little bit more about you as a coach. Okay. Did you look more for the wins, or it goes together, but or you focus most on the titles? Because it goes together, but is it because you got a record, right? So.
Well, I think you need to look at a bunch of things. I think, work ethic is probably the number one thing in my mind. You can win a bunch of titles and win a bunch of matches and all those kind of things, and not have a very good work ethic, and you're not going to make it in college. You might make it in high school because you're a great athlete, or you're more physically mature, or whatever it is. But I think in what I look for is, I'd rather have a guy that maybe didn't win as much, but has a really good work ethic, because I think that guy's going to make it in college. You know, I think you got to have guys that like to wrestle, that kind of love the process. Like, hey, they enjoy going to practice and wrestling and working hard. They enjoy going to the weight room. They enjoy running, all those things. It can't be like, I just win all the time and that's fun, because you're going to get to the next level and everybody's going to be just like you.
Definitely.
So something has to give there.
That's good.
Not everybody can win all the time.
That's correct. Now, and what is the weight class this the strongest for you when you recruit?
Really the middleweights.
Middleweights.
It seems like you get to the ends, 25 and heavyweight. Those weights are a little bit harder. Heavyweight, because you lose some really good guys to football, so it makes your pool a little bit smaller. 125 is the smallest weight class, and you recruit some of those guys and they outgrow it, and then kind of gravitate to the middle a little bit. So really the middleweights are the ones that are the easiest to recruit, if that makes sense.
The easiest to recruit. Got it. This takes me to another question. You mentioned football. Does that happen constantly? Do you lose athletes to go from wrestling to football?
No, I don't think it happens that often, but you do lose, like, there's a lot of good high school wrestlers at heavyweight, especially, that are also good football players.
They're also football players.
So they have to make a decision. Am I going to play football in college, or am I going to wrestle in college? Every now and then you get a guy that's a good double athlete or whatever, but not that often.
Not that often.
So you lose a lot of those bigger guys to football. We've actually lost two guys here to football, and one of them, I think, was his dad was a Division II football coach, I believe. Okay. And he wrestled for us, wrestled as a freshman, and we were in the weight room. You know how guys just kind of run their mouths about how good they are at this, that, and the other thing. And he's running his mouth about how good a long snapper he is, and they take him out to the football field and put a stopwatch on him, and like, dang, he is a pretty good long snapper. And it turned out that they either didn't have a guy, or the guy got hurt or something, and they asked him to go out, and he was on a little bit of scholarship money for wrestling. They're going to give him a full ride to play football, and
he took it.
He went and played football. And then we had a guy that wrestled heavyweight for us, kind of the same thing. He was a really good long snapper, and they needed the long snapper, and he went out and did it.
He did a good job right there. Awesome. That's interesting. Now, when it comes to recruiting, let me ask you this, because it's important. If I'm a sophomore, a junior, okay. What's the first thing you see in them? Like, would you look rather for me to send you an email, to contact you by email, to send you a video? What's the best way for me to contact you?
I'd say email is probably the best. I mean, I think it's a great idea to include a video, because, not a clip, not a highlight video, not, I don't want to see you just hitting a bunch of high crotches on people and putting them on their head. I want to see the whole match, so I think that's a good idea. And, I think the really good guys get noticed, but there's a lot of guys out there that don't get noticed.
Do they in wrestling, they get how can I say this? Like, at the high school level, you get a list of the top athletes all the time, like football does, like, ranking for it, the rank for it.
Yeah, there's national rankings and stuff like that. But a lot of those national rankings go a ton off of freestyle, or go a ton off of freestyle, or the summer wrestling. Well, that's great if you're a mat rat and you're in the wrestling room every day and that's what you do. But there's a lot of guys that, like you, hey, they wrestle and play baseball, or they wrestle and play football. Maybe they do all three. And they do have some success at wrestling, but they don't have that opportunity for all the summer stuff. So there's rankings, but I don't think you can put all your stock in rankings.
Got it. So by the time that you're going to see an athlete on the video, do you, because like I always talk to my athlete and I say, you know what, try to send a practice video to the coach as well. Try to send, because most of the time when you see highlight reels, it's the best, like in baseball, let's say.
Yeah.
I got a home run, a double, RBI. They will never send a strikeout or an error or nothing like that, right?
You're right.
So do you, on your end, on wrestling, so I know you mentioned, I want to see the whole match. Understood that. But other than that, what else do you focus when you say, okay, this is it. This is the kid that I like?
Well, I like a guy that kind of has a rhyme or reason to what he does. Not necessarily just goes out there and is doing something different every time. I think there's a lot of value in consistency, a lot of value in doing the same thing. So we're kind of looking at, does the guy have a system of what he's doing? Is he kind of doing the same things every time? I think it's important to be good, not only in the neutral position in wrestling, but also on the mat. So looking for those things, because you're going to have to be good in all three positions at the next level.
At the next level, definitely.
Yeah.
And so if I get an opportunity and you recruit me, do I get an opportunity to start right away as a freshman or not?
That's the beauty of wrestling.
It's
like,
awesome.
If you're the best guy, we're going to put you out there. And that doesn't mean we have to, or that we're going to. I think you have to sit down, and that has to be there has to be a discussion there. Like, hey, what are your goals and aspirations in your career? Some guys, we haven't redshirted their first year just because we didn't think they were focused enough. We didn't think maybe they were mature enough to do it. Being a redshirt isn't as easy as it seems. So you're used to competing probably twice a week in high school, and then all of a sudden you're a redshirt, and it's once a week in November and December, January. There's a couple of tournaments. February, March, you're just practicing every day, and it's hard for those guys to stay focused sometimes.
Interesting. So you compete a lot more in the high school level than the college, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting 20 to 30, maybe 35 would be a lot of matches in a year at the college level. Some of these high school kids are getting 50 matches a year.
50 matches a year. Wow. So right now, how many you say what, 30 games per year, and how many kids you recruit? How many kids you have on your team?
We have 36 guys on our team. 36. And then
how many?
So every year we're probably, we're recruiting more, but we're looking to bring in 5-6 kids
every year.
So, yeah.
Okay. And a scholarship, what's the average scholarship that you guys have available?
In wrestling, you can break it up any way you want to.
Anyone you want. Okay.
So I can give you $100, or I can give you a full ride.
A full ride. Oh, beautiful.
Some of it depends on, obviously, how good you are. Some of it depends on, are you the weight we need? All those things. So I'd say we're probably in the neighborhood of, average 1/3 of a scholarship, something like that.
1/3. Okay.
For us, that's $7,000-8,000. Not that we don't give more than that. We do a lot. But I would think that's if you spread it all out, that's probably an average, pretty close to.
Excellent. And now, when you're talking about starting a freshman, or you're starting a senior, what is your expectation every time they as coach, they jump on the mat?
My expectation is that you go out there and wrestle as hard as you possibly can for 7 minutes. Obviously I want to win. Everybody wants to win, but I think
of course. Mm-hmm.
If you go out there and wrestle as hard as you can for 7 minutes, good things will happen and you're going to win a lot.
Mm.
If you go out there and don't do that, that's when sometimes you got something to hang your head about, or you get close matches, or you lose some matches you're not supposed to because the other guy, you let him hang around and be in the match longer than he really needs to be.
Yeah, that's important right there. Now, and how you overcome an athlete that is not performing the way that you're expecting?
Well, it all depends on the athlete.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
In wrestling, there's a ton of things. It could be nutrition. It
Mm-hmm.
could be weight cutting. It could be sleep. It could be anxiety. It could be problems at home. It could be problems in school. So I really think you got to know the guys on your team, or get to know the guys on your team, and figure some of those things out.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you try to eliminate and kind of dig down, see where it's at. I think hard work gives you confidence.
Mm-hmm. So you will notice that right up front when the guy is struggling, you can tell as coach, because you coach, you mentor, your teacher, your psychologist right there. You do a bunch of jobs at once, right? But you will notice that when the guy is struggling.
Oh, yeah. You might not notice it right off the bat, but you can tell. Like, you can. If I was around you for 2 or 3 weeks and you got up one morning and something bad had happened, you'd be able to know.
You would be able to know.
Yeah, you could tell.
Awesome. So, how is your environment when it comes to practice with your team?
I think it's a great environment. I think the one thing you have to do is you have to bring it to practice every day. I think we have a pretty good culture on our team, and I think guys are working hard, and we have 30 guys that want to go in there and are striving to get better. And that kind of perpetuates itself. Like, you feed off me, I feed off you. And Beautiful. Right now it's a really good environment. I think you walk in and you kind of see the intensity in there.
So take me over a little bit on the practice section. How many hours or what time you get in to the gym? Because I'm curious about
that. Well, the NCAA allows you 6 days a week, 20 hours a week, 4 hours a day. So we usually we practice twice a day, 6 days a week, really. So we'll run or lift or get a technique workout in the morning and wrestle hard in the afternoon.
Do you guys have to run a lot? Because it's a good part of it. Like how many miles and everything? You guys do that a lot? I know weight is important as well, right?
We do, and a lot of that extra running and cutting weight and stuff like that is on your own.
Okay.
So that's on top of the 20 hours.
That's on top of the 20.
Yeah.
So how many coaches you have in total in the practice with you every time that you do a practice?
3. We, on our staff here, we have myself, Hunter Stieber, and Shakur Laney.
Okay. Excellent. So you always, you divide it by weight or how that goes?
Well, some of it has to be divided by weight because I'm probably not going to wrestle with a 25-pounder. So we have to have somebody else wrestle with him. But I think some of it goes to personalities too. Your personality might be the best to coach me. But it might not be the best to coach somebody in your weight class. So I think you got to divide it up that way a little bit. I relate really, really good to you, but I don't relate really well to the other coach. We do it that way a little bit as well.
Interesting. That's very good. I now, how is the season? The new season is coming up. How your schedule looks like, And are you completed already for the next season with the U athletes?
Yeah, our schedule is complete. We got some great teams on our schedule.
I was looking at it. You have good competition right there, man.
Yeah.
So you start in
November 6th.
November 6th.
First competition. Yeah.
Yeah, November 6th against Michigan State.
Yeah.
Yeah, against Michigan. And then, so how you prepare each, competition with the athletes?
Well, it all depends. I mean, obviously you're preparing guys right now and getting them in shape and trying to make them better wrestlers, getting rid of some of their deficiencies, stuff like that. And that's going to be a tournament at Michigan State. So they might wrestle 4 or 5 matches in that day. And then the following weekend, you go to a dual meet, and that's only wrestling 1 match. So you prepare the 1 match a little bit different than you prepare the 5 and 6 matches in a day.
The 5 or 6 matches. Okay. And every day, I mean, do you take everybody to those games, or you separate the team?
The open tournament at Michigan State, we'll take everybody. But then in a dual meet, we'll take, 10 guys wrestle, and we'll probably take 3 extras, like a light guy, a middle guy, and a heavier guy, like a light, heavier guy. So we'll probably take 13, maybe 15 if it's, but usually 13.
Okay. Do you study the competition by video like football does, or it's a different way to study the competition?
No, I think you do. I mean, I think you do. I don't think you do it as in depth as football does. I mean, I'm obviously not a football coach, but just listening and watching, it sounds like they spend hours and hours and hours and hours watching film and looking for a guy to move his pinky, and then I know what play that is. We don't watch that much. We watch a little bit, and I think some of that comes down to individual differences. Okay. Like when I was wrestling, and if I had you coming up on our schedule, I didn't want to know everything you did. I wasn't concerned about that. I was concerned about what I did.
Yeah,
and
correct.
But I did want to know if you had, some funky move or a big throw or something like that. You got all right, I wanted to know that, but I didn't want to know anything else.
Definitely. It's more because, wrestling, those moves are like myself. I mean, it's tough. Those move when you're on the map, or you have to turn around, or all kinds of points that you get. It's very interesting because I don't know. Like I said, I don't know much about how the point goes, and how many points you where you have to hit him, or what moment, especially when they're together like that, all the time. But it seems to me extremely physical. Like, to me, wrestling is it's probably harder than, I don't know, boxing, probably, I think.
Well, think of it this way, okay? Run around the bases in baseball for 7 minutes as hard as you can.
You can't.
That's basically a wrestling match. Wrestling, going wide open for 7 minutes straight.
For 7 minutes straight.
There.
Yeah. No, imagine if you run from home to second, you sweating already.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, that's the beauty of wrestling, though. I have to get more involved into wrestling because, to be honest with you, I'm not too savvy about that. But let me ask you something else, Coach, before we go, because I know you're busy. But do you follow any evaluation criteria when it comes to recruit?
Yeah, obviously, I think first and foremost is, academically, are they going to make the grade? Are they good students? Are they doing what they need to do? I don't want to bring a guy to Ohio University and then have to chase him around and make sure he's going to class and all that stuff. I'd rather not get that guy. I think, that's important. I think you want to look at, do they love wrestling? Are they wrestling in the summer? Are they wrestling in off-season tournaments? All those kind of things. Not that that's the end all be all, but those are a couple of things we really look at. I want to know, hey, is a guy a pretty good athlete? I mean, wrestling is one of those sports you don't always need to be a great athlete, but but it helps.
But it helps most definitely.
Yeah.
No, you need to be in good shape. No,
yeah,
no doubt. Now, you took me to something important: graduation rate. What is your graduation rate at the school when you're talking about? Because academics is extremely important, right?
Right. Actually, the Ohio athletics graduation rate's higher than the regular student body. So, as far as my 20 years here, if you stayed out for wrestling all 5 years, every guy's graduated.
Everybody's good. That's right. Beautiful.
Everybody's graduated. They have a thing called the academic performance rate that they use a lot now. Out of the last 4 years, we've gotten 3 1,000s. That means everybody's eligible. That means everybody returned, came back to school.
Yeah, everybody's returned.
Yeah.
Awesome. So that's important because sometimes as an athlete, you get loose, you get lost about, academics, because you want to probably focus more on the sport. So sometimes it's crucial about, how you're doing in academics. Did you take a look as well, the SATs? Did you do both?
Yeah. And again, that's not the end all be all to me. It's one of those, I will take you with not a great ACT score, but I know you're a hard worker and are going to go to class every day because I know you're going to make it. There's some kids out there that get a good ACT score that are skipping classes in high school. Boy, that's gonna be a rough go.
Interesting. So all that goes into the evaluation criteria pretty much that we mentioned before. Yeah, all that information goes. Now, if I'm a student, I'm looking, for wrestling coach, what should I expect from you? If I'm like, okay, I'm kind of like excited to go to to be a Bobcat. What should I expect from you as coach?
You should expect me to hold you to a certain standard. You should expect me to kind of be there to develop you. You should expect me to push you academically and wrestling wise.
Excellent. So you always push to those guys a little bit of mindset, right? It's the mindset that they have in order for them to be more successful. Because the idea, you guys, like I mentioned, you guys do a bunch of jobs at once, pretty much. The idea for you is to make them prepare for the next level of after school, correct?
Yeah, we want them to be successful the rest of their lives, get a good job that pays a lot, be successful.
Definitely. And tell me a little bit about that. If you're in the university, I mean, should I get excited to go to be a Bobcat? I mean,
I think you should. Man, it's a beautiful school. Like, smaller campus, 25,000 students, all red brick buildings. Everything looks the same, whether it was built in, the 60s or was built. We've got a lot of construction going on now. Finished last month, but they all look the same. So it's a college town. It's not a big metropolitan area. We don't have a bus system. You can walk around. Got a nice. It's called Uptown Court Street. That's a nice main street that's really kind of focused on college students. So it's a great place to go to school.
It's a college town. It's like here Tempe. If you go to Tempe, I don't know if you being ASU, but it's a college town right there too. Of course, ASU is huge. I don't know how many students they have. Probably like 70,000+ people right now at the school, but it's growing every year. You see a new building, you see a new building all over the place. Are you ever come here to compete against ASU?
Not since I've been at Ohio. When I was at Northern Iowa, we did.
You did? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So it's been a while. I've been to Phoenix and Tempe to wrestle. They had a tournament out there called the Sunkissed Open. I've been there. They hold it at a school called like Brophy Prep School.
Oh, Brophy. Yeah.
So I've been there a bunch.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Now, Take me over something, Coach. International athletes. Do you recruit international athletes?
Not really.
Not really.
I mean, some. We had a guy from Armenia here 2 years ago, I believe. He was here for 4 years, graduated from the College of Business, all that, but not a ton. I mean, international wrestling is a little different style than college wrestling. So not that they can't be good, but it's hard to get them up to speed. How's that sound?
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. So so definitely you see more, because the high school, like I said, high school here in the United States is completely different of high school in other countries. No matter country you go to, you don't have the facilities, you don't have the training, you don't have everything that you guys do right here in the United States,
right,
on any sport. I'm not talking just about wrestling or football or baseball. Any sports, is extremely competitive at the high school level. So it's tough for you when it comes to international to see somebody, okay, maybe his level is not that high.
Exactly. I mean, and we wrestled like on the mat. So in the top and bottom position, which they don't do internationally.
They don't.
So you might get a guy from another country that's really, really good on his feet, but if he can't get off the bottom, boy, that's gonna be a problem.
That's gonna hurt. Yeah, that's gonna hurt. Excellent. Yeah, that's important because I get a lot of approaching for, of course, in all the sports, soccer, baseball, international athletes, more than nothing. But I didn't know if you guys, so recruit international athletes on wrestling or not, and probably in other schools they might have the same value of what you have right there, right?
Yeah, there's not a lot. There's a lot of international athletes in the junior colleges, and some of those trickle out into Division I. There's been a few guys go to Division I, but not a bunch. Not a bunch. I'd say one or two a year is about it in Division I.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Yes, that's a really low average right there. But that's good. And now, Coach, mindset is important for the athletes. And I know that you talk about expectations as well. So how you prepare the guys from the mindset right there?
I just think you have guys focus on being the best that they can be, focus on the process, working as hard as you can. We want guys with the mindset that they're going to go out there and score points. Excellent. And don't worry about all that other stuff, or I'm not going to worry about what you're doing, or I just want to score points. If the match is 3-2 or 10-2, I want to score points.
I like that.
Yeah.
As long as the points are right there, that's what counts, right?
And you don't worry about the last point scored, worry about the next point scored. So if you go out and take me down and you got 2 points, I'm not worried about those points. I'm worried about scoring the next one. I got to get off the bottom and get an escape.
Awesome. And to finish this conversation, Coach, what is your expectation for this year? Do you feel comfortable you're going to be up there, or how is that going?
I think we have a really talented team. I think we've got we're going to put 10 starters out on the mat. They're going to be eager to wrestle, and they're going to go out there and score points, and they're going to go out and make exciting for the fans to watch. And I expect to have guys, place in the MAC tournament and be at the national tournament and go from there. Beautiful. You're
expecting for them to go to the championship, NCAA Championships. You probably be there.
Yep.
And the MAC tournament as well, to be up there, competitive with these guys.
Yeah.
Well, exactly. I'm looking forward to see it, man. I'm like I said, I would love to, go and get to know a little bit more about wrestling.
You need to go. Right? You need to go watch some matches. You'll love it.
I would love to, man. I would love to.